Hey, that's upside down. That's better. Hey, Mr. Stamper. Welcome. No, put him in the wrong place, Paul. Put it in the right place. Right. How am I supposed to keep a desk clean if I keep putting stuff in the wrong place? Hey, Mr. Peck. Morning to you too, sir. Stephen. Hey, Carl, Justin. And of course, Ed. Hello, Ed. How you been? I know. It's been a while. I've got no excuse other than the fact that, well, you gotta send more stuff to me to fix, and then I'll be on YouTube more. Otherwise, I'll just be like some tech people and sit here with a cup of coffee and talk trash about other people on the internet. Hey, Cormac, and Ben, hi, Micro FX, hello. Yes, Mr. ZX, how you going? Slide this open. Hey, APL. Hey, Pownov. So I better unpack these phones before I get on with things before I forget. Hey, Fix It Pro and Swiftrick. Invoice, which I've already put through the system. I've been buying up on my phones and all the other bits and pieces because of the coronavirus, as we all know, and of course China being shut down. There's going to be a bit of a shortage of screens soon enough. It's going to be like the 2015, I think it was, iPhone 5 series shortage. Here comes the floods. Ah, Mr. Wayne Tower, your package arrived today. Where are they? Okay. These things. I'll give them a shot with the iPhones and see how it goes. Okay, so what have we got? 6S, 7 Plus, Success, 6. Okay, so you're 6 Success. See if I've even got enough room in my normal boxes. Yeah, that's fine. My normal boxes will carry around about a week's supply, but I'm kind of having to squeeze them out a bit here now. Ah, I forgot the 7P. 7 Plus. And of course, naturally today when I was digging around doing other things, I found my 7 Plus batteries. So that just means more stock on hand. I've got another dozen or so screens coming tomorrow. Is Open Boardview also for normal laptops? Yes. Marco, Open Boardview, Flex Boardview, they are generic Boardview applications, so if we can load the format, then it's not specific to a particular brand or type of Boardview. In fact, people can generate, for Flex Boardview anyway, people can generate their own board views out of things like Eagle or KiCad. So it's a generic tool that allows people to view board views. And now, because we support the KiCad and Eagle type, the exports that you can do from them, things like hyperlinks, IPC, what else is there? I always get whether it's Fabricator or something like that. GenCAD's the one that's really quite good. So yeah, they're all there and they're supported. There's probably a few quirks that I still have to work out, but the core engine is there. Hey Nick, Jacob Anderson, and Nelson, and Kurt David. Looks like we've got everybody turning up here. Okay, so anyway, we've got a, what is this, 1466? Yep, 1466. Shouldn't know, just by looking at it. Let's see what the fault is. Let's see. Let's have prior repair. Tried SMC with without battery, no fan spin, any sign of life. Seems to have died. It's dead. Okay, so we've got a dead laptop. Jolly good. Yeah, probably should cover up those. Right. Probably going to be a little obvious still for some people. Yeah, well, do what I can. Ah. Okay, for MacBooks, obviously I'm still using these. But for the iPhones, I'll try something different. Got 2 screws missing there. Okay, so the 2 long screws are missing out. Fair enough. It has been opened before, so it's nothing unusual. Come on. That's where's the most frustrating part. And with all the rains that we've been having lately, the bugs are just everywhere. It's like when we were under the microscope tonight, I suggest if you're a little bit scared of alien type creatures, then maybe not looking at the display. Okay. That's weird. Got some bowl folds developing there. Kind of like it's been folded back or something. Okay, it's an 820-00165. There's bugs falling all over the place. There's a bug on my glove. Get off. Let's see if it draws any power and does anything at all. Give me a MagSafe too. Where are you? Green light. No fan spin. 172 milliamp constant draw. Ew. 172 constant. No energizing, no change. It's in a locked state. Alright. I'll try without the battery. I have a feeling that might just be in the battery. Yep. So now it's 100. So you've got a problem maybe with our clock. Something like that. Because it's not doing anything. It's not trying to go through any sequences. So we could have clock BIOS issues. Maybe. Guess we'll see. Put in your bets. Put in your bets. Now remember, I haven't even looked at this board yet. We are getting a green light, so SMC might be partially alive, but it could also be a half-alive zombie. Okay, we've got grit and stuff all over here. Screen is angled. Yeah, it's because every time I bump up here, see? It's called bumping your head on everything. And this is called making sure I never lose a customer's solid state drive. Because no one wants to do that. Oh, and this is a field replacement unit. Okay, this is going to be probably worse trouble than anything. This is an Apple refurb. So 342 is just dust, okay. Could also just be a bad DCM board. That'd be a laugh. But the 820-00165 as a field replacement board is generally bad news. Yeah, I see they've done work up there, perhaps. Display connector's okay, thank goodness. Because if nothing else, you can always just sell the display and get more money back. You probably sell the displays for more than what you can sell the working unit. Hey Tana, excellent. I was just going to ask how things were going. Good of you to drop in. Let's see. Camera is not in the socket properly. I'm very glad that it's going good. Because I was having a bit of a bad week the other week. So it's good to see yours come out good. This thing's coming out. Erring still towards it being a clock bias problem. Could be DC inboard, but we'll take it out anyway. What's the problem if you plug DC in? What is the problem if you plug DC into the MacBook and turns on right away? Depends on the Mac. Depends on... What the... Did that just rotate? Did they put the long screw in? Hey, Damaris. No. Hey, Peter Van from Kenya. Would you prefer to say Kenya? Okay. Just thinking it's been over... Well, it's approaching 20 years now since I've been in southern Africa. Yet it still feels like it was just the other day. Best way you said is right? Okay. Cool. Nice to know. Of course, with me learning Chinese at the moment, it's getting... my brain's getting rather well scrambled. Right, now the fun bit that a lot of people forget to do when they're first doing these 1466s. People forget that there is a screw holding down the end of the heatsink. And then they proceed to yank and they screw it up. And you gotta pull that cable retainer away, take out the little screw, and this way you do not damage the Wi-Fi leads, leaving your customer with awful Wi-Fi performance and you coming up with excuses. And me wondering, hey, I didn't take out the last screw. That would have been funny. Well, I can't see any corrosion blobs there, so the mystery deepens. Vogon, why Chinese? Because I've pretty much figured it's worth learning. I mean, they're pretty much going to be the largest or the second largest economy soon enough. And it's an interesting way to improve the plasticity of my brain, I suppose. It's something interesting, something different. You're sort of learning two languages at once with Chinese, because you got to learn pinyin, and you also got to learn all the logographs. Wow, there's some stuff going on here, that's for sure. Definitely stuff going on here. Let's have a look. Hey, Gregory. Teresa, yeah, that's a common thing that people like to cry about. I always do ask those people sort of like, well, okay, fine, if they say they do own all that, who the hell sold it to them in the first place? And I'll tell you who. The people who wanted to make money. And who were they? They were Australians. So as Australians being unpatriotic, according to their own values, and selling off the things that they owned. Well, at least they feel like they owned. So I don't think you can really blame other countries capitalizing on that. Because if you're going to sell it, well, you know, you're going to have a buyer. There is a lot of grit and sand around on this thing. So, oh, there we go. Oh no, you're C32. Well, yep, that would pretty much do it. It's nowhere near the clock though. I can't get over how much grit is on this thing. And sadly, I didn't win the prize. Doesn't look like there's anything really wrong over here. It's a little bit of junk, but nothing major. I'm just checking everything else again. Whoa, what the... Okay folks, this is an Apple field replacement unit, and I'm guessing that this marked area is actually what Apple did. Let's see, is there any major difference between displays on a 1502? And did you learn how to say in Chinese, "Help, I'm dying from a virus"? Ha! No. Yeah, Teresa, I'd say that the Chinese would manage it much better. They at least... Yeah, it's just... I'm sorry to say, but I'm just not patriotic towards Australian people. No, I'm patriotic towards the country. I believe in preserving the country and all that sort of stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, most of the so-called Australian patriots are just a bunch of idiots. And they're just loud-mouthed, abrasive, aggressive, and completely and utterly miss the spirit of Australia. But hey, you try to tell them that and you probably end up being the next one-punch victim on the floor. So you just learn to shut your mouth and let them go about their business. It's just not worth the smack in the face. Yeah. Anyway, that's our primary problem. At least for this session, but this definitely intrigues me. So it's around the all-sys power good area. This sort of area is all sys power good. I'm kind of wondering what happened here, other than a complete and utter cluster job. Let's see if we can get... Holy truth almighty. I love how they've used the dark pen to try and hide. They didn't even use conformal coat or anything. Yeah, you can see the pen marks where they've tried to brush over it with a black Sharpie, as most people would know it as. Here in Australia, of course, we call it a Nico. It looks like it was corrosion. I'm just trying to clear it away so at least I can have a chance of inspecting it to see if it's going to have any influence on my own repair. Cluster duck indeed. Ah, and it's awful soldering jobs there. Look at that. Honestly, what are they using? Like, I mean, I know not all soldering jobs are great, but these are looking like they were done quite cold. Didn't get a chance to heat up the board or anything. So I'd say this was shipped out to the cheapest possible repair agent. Yeah. And now, after additional damage, it's ended up at one of the more expensive repair agents, and that would be me. Wayne, no, I've got my tips coming. I put an order in with Mechatronics, and I'm still waiting for the tip. I got a KN or a KU, I can't remember. I also got a knife tip for the 2027 as well. Alright, let's clear this up. Stop dilly-daddling and get on with the task. Yeah, Nick, marker pen, yeah. Exactly. Sharper, marker pen, Nico. Yeah, Texter. Texter's the other one that we have, yeah. I'm not even going to try and clean this up and see if it's any good. I'm just got so many donor boards of these things, I can just go all out, pull everything off and replace. Plus it gives me a chance to see if there's any damage under the pads. Oh, you took a while to get off. Thank you, Kristen. Would you participate in between two fans? I have seen that advertised on Netflix, I think it was, in passing, but isn't that the guy out of the Hangover series or something? Out of sync, flip me do. I don't think I'd be the right personality for the two ferns thing. I mean, you gotta be famous and witty. Ah, crikey, I can feel I got a bug hanging around in my hair right now. I probably should get to this bug that's in my hair, because I don't really wish to have a repeat of a cockroach crawling into my ear again. I do not ever wish to relive that agony. But I'm soldering, and that's what matters most. Hey Warren, how's it going? Yeah, it's not lice, I can tell you that. It's something much bigger than lice and more deadly. Ooh, that pad's nearly gone. Alright, damn you, what are you? Ah! Little miniature cicada looking things, that's what they are. Is there corrosion under that? Yeah, I think there's a little smidge of corrosion under our backlight driver. Well, I'll flush it out and see how it goes. You're gonna lash out 2300 for an S20 Ultra Samsung or wait for the 3K iPhone 12? Oh man. I'll wait till someone has bought that, and then in 6 years' time I'll quote them some ludicrous price to repair it. I'll say, yeah, I'm just going to get the latest one, and then at that point I will finally acquire my own off them. I mean, isn't that how techs get stuff? We basically just take other people's leftovers and make them work again. I mean, that's what I do. Pretty much everything I've got here, other than microscope, yeah, other than the actual equipment, but in terms of my computers, my phones, all that sort of stuff, I just reacquire other people's stuff. I'm not really one to really care about having this year's version or anything like that. As long as it does the job, I'm good. I mean, I'm running on an iPhone 7 Plus now. If it's something that really, really matters, then sure, you know, I mean, I'll get new. But otherwise I'll just reacquire other people's stuff. How long do we have to watch Australian live streams before we see a 15cm huntsman's fight drop down? If I was doing it in the shed, you'd see one pretty quick. I've got a couple hanging out in there. Okay, we've lost a pad here, which is part of the... I think it's part of the feedback network for the backlight driver. Not the one... Oh, and this one's etched away as well. Ooh, nasty, this one. Not the one that's under here, but this is like a voltage sense, I think. I'll have to check. Anyway, we've lost the main pad. We've got a stump there, so we may be able to put a ball on it. But chances are we'll have to run a wire, depending on where it's coming from. Yeah, Gonzalo, I used to have a 6S Plus. I gave it to my wife when I got my 7 Plus. And the one thing that makes Lewis truly horrified is that I have now moved over to basically just having MacBooks for laptops, and my main workstation is in fact a 27-inch iMac that admittingly I do have Ubuntu on, so I don't know whether that'll actually make him feel better or worse. Not that it would stop me. Okay, programming. So what I'm looking for is... Oh, SM Bus PCH. Ooh, okay, yeah, that's not a good one to lose. What are these? Okay, so without these, there's no way for the data to get into the backlight chip. Where's our nearest... Oh, hell, man. It's our nearest test pad, and... Good God. Okay, let us hope that we can get that back. Okay, so I was completely wrong. They're not for a divider. They're actually for the I2C lines. Nick, we're just trying to fix up a board that does not work. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to suck a little bit, because if we do not get the 2 pads, then we're going to have some long, snaky guitar strains to drag over this thing. I'm just going to take this off because it doesn't look entirely secure down there. Get off. Thank you. And we were correct. Yes, you can certainly use Linux on a Mac. I certainly am, that's for sure. There are some minor quirks. I know we're lucky this one here is actually just corroded, so we got lucky there. This one on the other hand, no. So what we'll try to do is drop a ball in there and see if that ball will grab onto the stump. If it does not grab onto the stump, then we will cry. Yeah, unfortunately these aren't pull-ups, these are 0 ohm just connection lines. Which means, yeah, I can't just put it anywhere else. So I'm going to repair this one. If my soldering iron will hurry up and get hot. Yep, that's good. Okay, so those two are good. This just needs a bit of corrosion gotten off it. And as it is, these two here, they weren't the worrisome ones, because worst case we could just run a wire under the chip. But that little stump down there, that's the problem. Could you scrape back the trace? No, unfortunately it's buried underneath, like in layer 3. So I'm really not keen on digging a hole down to layer 3. I mean, I could have a look. Yeah, let's have a look, why don't we? Let's see, let's get ourselves a donor. I should probably dig into a 165 because probably not likely a lot of difference. But if we're gonna have to be pedantic, I suppose. Being pedantic stops a whole bunch of people crying, and since I don't like crying, I guess that's to my advantage. Oh, come on now. 1,034,37s. Where are my 165s? Oh, 2032. What a sick game is this? Oh, there's nothing wrong with crying if you want to cry, but I just mean I don't like having other people crying over frivolous things. Yeah, it looks like I've ultrasonic this board. This is a dead board that I gave up on. So we want to see where this pad goes off to. Which means I probably should actually be wearing protective mask or something, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Fiberglass isn't really the best thing to be ingesting, or inhaling rather. We'll get those two resistors off because we will need them. I mean, I do have plenty of others. Any special hints on putting Linux on a 2010? I don't know about a 2010. Mine is a 2013, and it about the only thing I had trouble with the 2013 was the audio. The output was a little bit too low. In fact, it was incredibly low, and so I had to just plug in a Creative Labs USB audio brick thing. But that aside, it worked perfectly well, and the display ports work fine. I've got two external screens attached. It's great. Okay, these are actually 0 ohm resistors. What do I care about that? No one cares about 0 ohm resistors. Equip board repair and tech in general. I don't even care because it means nothing without someone you love in your life. Well, that's crying indeed. Crying is just a sign of a woman asking for apology. That or as a man trying to get out of an argument that he's at fault on. You gotta save those moments though. Don't use them up, don't waste them. It's gotta be for the important times. Yep, that's right, I'm using flux. Real men cry, they just cry in the shower. I think I need more speed here. Oh yeah. So watching Fast and the Furious and they're endless upshifts. It's like, I'm not going fast enough, let me shift up again for the 10th time. Stockholm's, I just got this from the local hardware store. It's a... there we go. So, yeah. Yeah. It's just a 8.4 volt Dremel. Does the job very well. Perfect for this sort of work. Looks like we hit the nitro. This is a nasty one because it actually dives down into yet another layer. So it looks like it's a stepped view. So what's happening is that the stump on the right is the one that, the stalk that comes up to the pad. It goes down the one layer and then it steps off and then it dives down again. I'm not sure where it dives down to again. There's not much point chasing that. You can almost see it. Yeah, it's really not worth chasing that. So I could grind down and get the full width here, but I'll try to see if I can just get a ball to attach first. Well, it was good to see where that went. Sometimes you get lucky and they just spread out really quickly to run off nearby on the first layer down. Not this time. So essentially the rest of the pad, it comes out into sort of this area here. Ah, Margarita. Oh. I cry mostly for the fact that I haven't got my house yet, my deposit and things like that. It seems like there's always a spanner being thrown in the damn process, no matter how hard you try. Anyway, like I said, we're going to go for a ball attachment attempt first. If that works, then great, we're good. I don't really want to have to do more damage than I have to. Cats are good. Cats are good. They do need more room, which is to be expected. Which is also why I'm going to get my backside into gear and get us a bigger property. Oh, I don't know, Matthew. I've had houses in the past where it's been me, myself and I, and there's a certain I guess it depends on your personality, in all honesty. Some people love just the solidarity and everything, and I'm definitely one of those people. Yeah, that's a 0.25mm ball. That's the smallest I've got. And we've got an excess one there, which we don't need, so we're just going to put that somewhere random so that that little piece of lead is now back into the environment where it can freely go and get absorbed into some poor critter's brain, which will then go up the food chain and eventually I'll probably consume it. Okay, we've got a little bit too much air there. Come on down. Stockholm's no, she She's right there with me. Okay, even though that ball is like, I'm sitting in the right place now, I don't think it's truly sunk in yet. Yes, I prefer to be alone but with someone. That's the principle. Okay, that's attached itself to the viewer, so we're good. And now I need some 0-ohm resistors. Damn it. 201s. Yeah, I'll just steal them off the 3437. There we go. So funnily enough, I did one of those personality tests. The the one that gives you the 4 types, 4 categories, and you end up with like 16 different types. Anyway, I end up being an ENTP, which is quite interesting because I always consider myself a little more introverted, but it would appear that I am in fact slightly extroverted. And the ENTP is the engineering type. And my second one was an architect. Yes, Travis, the one, yeah. Had to find out what she was married to. MBTI test, is it? You're an INFJT. Whoa. Yeah, so I was surprised that I had the strong... Yeah, I know, I saw it. I'm gonna have to put another ball down there. It got picked up, unfortunately, by the... Oh, shoot's sake. Hey, Mr. Lockhart. Doing well. Dealing with the bugs. You guys had much rain? Because we've had our surge of rain, and of course now all the bugs have decided to come out, and they're everywhere. Maya Briggs, that's it. Thank you, Jimbo. Jeff Jones, EEJRT. That's... Yeah, no, you shouldn't be so self-deprecating. Alright, we've got some more balls. I'm a wee bit annoyed that I lost that first one. I think there's certainly, yeah, at least the Myers-Briggs has a little more foundation in statistical analysis of personalities, as opposed to just random. Damn it, now I've got to put my... Yeah, Wayne, and then killing you the next day. I'm being a little bit gung-ho here with my soldering and handling of everything at the moment. Okay, I saw it jump down, so it's been drawn into the abyss slightly. I mean, everything in psychology is pretty much... Yeah, I mean, that's why everybody... Well, that's why a lot of people mock psychology. It's like, it's not real science. I can certainly see the value in it. I know it can be useful in many ways. It's not to say it's immutable or 100%, but it's an indicator. Why aren't you? Oh, you're not a MacBook. MacBook. Let's hope this time we don't apple it. Alright, it's sitting a little high. I don't even want to get too pushy with it just yet. We will now test to see if we have continuity between that and the test point somewhere on blimmin' heck, the other side of the board, I guess. Hey, John White. Okay, so we do have continuity on this, a point of continuity, a test pad. In the middle of nowhere. This thing over here. At least that's the one I'm after, isn't it? Yep. So, we gotta find that. Directly under the SMC. I think that's it in the middle. That's that one right there. Okay, so we jab and stab. And come over here and hope. Okay, it looks like we've got dirty tips. Okay, that's me testing. Oh, I've got junk all over my tips, damn it. Yeah, I may have to run the wire. I guess we'll see. I'll give this another bit of a reheat and push it down. It could also be that internally the trace is already broken. Ah, shoot. Sorry, folks. There's Dan the plumber in here. Perverts. Okay. Squishy point. Okay, that's better. We're good. We made it. Hey Richard Moore, how you going? Sorry I haven't been around much. Just been pretty much flat out. By the way, I've been trying to reply to your emails, Richard. Assuming you are the Richard that's emailing me. Your normal reply to address bounces. So I've tried the Gmail one. But I just haven't heard anything back, so I don't know whether that's just your normal thing, which I've got no problem whatsoever with, or whether it's just not making it over your way. Anyway, as I said, I tried to reply back to you, say thank you and things like that. I'm not going to care about that bridge. We'll cross it when it comes up. Hey Nick. Okay, so now let's actually take those parts that are destroyed and swap them over. John, it's a little hard at the moment, but I mean, I don't mind doing the live streams because I can do them while I'm working. But editing videos, that's a bit of a problem, and I do wish I could put more effort into it, because I know a nicely edited video is worth its weight in clicks and likes and stuff like that. The problem is you get to the end of the day and you're just exhausted and you sort of go, oh, I'll do the minimum cuts that I need to just to make it still remain coherent but not take 3 hours. It'd probably help if I had a faster system, because the one thing that really irritates me at the moment is that when I click to do a cut, it still takes a second or two before it does the cut and returns control back to me. And yeah, it's like, it's too long. Especially when you're going to do a few hundred of those. Ah, stuck. Some people would say, no, you suck. There we go. Hey Pinball, how's it going? Right now I'm using a program called Shotcut. It's kind of... It was a bit of a toss-up for me because I got the Mac, the 27-inch iMac, and that would make an excellent editing platform. But most of my work... Oh damn it, what am I, an idiot here? Most of my work is Linux-centric, so I needed it as my workstation, so I had to stick with Linux. And there's very few good video editors in Linux. There's a lot of quirky ones, a lot of them that crash and burn. And Shotcut was one of the few that didn't crash and burn every 10 seconds. Damn, I'm not getting the heat there. I'm going to have to use a bit of hot air assist on this. Email bounced. Yeah, bugger. Damn it, Cap, I'm gonna have to take you out if you don't get out of my way. I used a circuit design software that would simulate all connections as you place them, make an 8-bit decoder after 5 seconds delay. Which program was that? Was that PSpice or something? Mind you, I thought that... Isn't that for Logix? The simulation land of electronics is quite something. Digital circuits are not so much a problem, but stuff like modelling transistors accurately, that is an extreme challenge, mathematically. I don't think AliExpress is delivering anything right now. It's called Multisim. You used it in a Unitech. Okay. What's this? Yeah, the coronavirus does not live very long outside of a host. In general, viruses don't live that long. Bacteria does, of course. Or can. But viruses rarely so. Especially things like coronavirus. On the upside, it's a good reason to, if you are doing screen replacements for machines, for phones, it's a perfectly legit reason to bump the price up a bit, because you know that they're going to jump up. Okay, there's that one more little cap that we need. Of course, the fun thing about viruses and things like that is everyone's just, well, not everyone, but the media is ignoring the fact that many thousands of people will die every year from the boring old influenza. But it's not a new pandemic, so it doesn't get the time on TV or whatever. There we go. Corona prefers cold weather. Oh, that's nice. When did they come out with that realization? Is that a new one? I didn't see that come up. Alright. Well, we seem to have at least done the primary damage on this board. There is that secondary damage that was done by whoever did this for Apple before. And I think what I'll do is I'll scrape up the corrosion that I can see, because you can see it's gotten under the coating here. So I'm going to scrape that up just to stop it growing any further. And then at least we can seal it safely and not worry that this board's going to suffer coronary disease in a few months' time. It'll be interesting to see what this is like after it comes out of ultrasonic. I'm pretty happy with that cleanup. BBC reported was the warm weather inhibits the spreading of the coronavirus. Does it inhibit or does it just cause the coronavirus to die quicker? Or basically just have a poorer longevity outside of the host? How long have those Huntsman spies been in the shed? 15 years. They've been there much longer than I have. So I really don't have a problem with Huntsmans. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not some hero. If they run across my hand or anything like that while I'm in the shed, I will jump and squeal. I will squeal. Because it's still the shock factor. And I don't... Yeah, it's not like some movie where you just sort of like go, I'm not scared of nothing. You don't scare me. When those big hairy damn huntsmans run across your hand or up your arm or stuff like that, you jump and you run and you do all the dancing. You're like, try to get it off. Because it's just what you do. I'm much better with snakes. Speaking of which, I had 2 or 3 last week that I had to deal with. Couple of spotted pythons, and then last night there was a really nice last night or the night before last I had a really nice carpet python in the yard. Really nice specimens. They weren't very big, but I got them out of the yard and put them out into the scrub next door where they're better off being. They're coming in because they want all the frogs. That's why China's spraying the street, because it can't live outside the house for too long. I do wonder if they were just spraying in the streets as well, just simply as a show of they're doing something. I think they get criticised a lot for, you didn't do enough fast enough, and that sort of thing. And I don't think they're ever going... No one wins at that sort of game. Because if you start doing that sort of level of stuff straight away, then people are going, you're overreacting, you're causing panic. And if you don't do it, then people will go, you took too long. And yeah, it's just one of those stupid political things where everybody looks to typecast what you're doing in the worst possible light for the sake of their own superiority. It's like, yeah, whatever. Not that I'm a great fan of a lot of what goes on over there, but I don't consider it to be substantially worse than pretty much every other country. Just some countries are better at pretending to hide it more than others. Okay, let's clean this up a bit. It's getting a bit sticky. Let's see if we can get some activity. They did hide it for a month and have 10,000 person banquets. What? No. That's the other thing is, I mean, there is probably stuff that... Yeah, I mean, they might have known... See, if they look at retrospectively... So, like, say they get these people that start getting sick and they're not sure what it is. And so they're like keeping an eye on it, they're cautious about it, but they aren't acting on it. And then later on they find, okay, this is what's happening. It's... I mean, that's pretty much the standard sort of behaviour. To be fair, at least they did shut everyone down. I mean, you try to do that in America or Australia or whatever and say, alright, that entire city, you're shut down. It wouldn't work. You just can't do that over here. I'm not saying they did it perfect, but I just feel that they probably did the best they could, trying to weigh up, and it's always so much easier in hindsight. So much easier in hindsight. Not really one for yelling at people over that sort of thing. 1st December 2019. Right, but I mean, it's like, did they know what was happening? Was it at that time? It's kind of like if you've never encountered Ebola before. You don't know what to do with it until later. And at this point, there's too much hysteria going around, so I guess I'm just going to wait until another year or so and then we can look back on it. Personally, I think the main drivers of the hysteria are probably someone who's profiting from it. It's very convenient, since we don't have enough wars, so to speak. I think we've got plenty of wars, but yeah, markets love this sort of stuff. Okay, fan spin. Sorry, I kind of took away the joy there, but yeah, we've got fan spin. I guess I'll turn off the... we're going to turn that off so people can see if it blinks a folder. Backlight's energized, I mean the screen's energized, and we have a blinking folder. Beautiful. So it seems like we're up and alive. I'm just going to verify that by... Let's see, this is 165. Damn you, 165. Can never run MRI on you. You make me sad. My personal view is that there's probably... this sort of thing happens way too many times, and we just don't hear about it most of the time. I mean, if you look at swine flu, that came out of the Mexico and then the States, and that got out of control pretty damn quick. So yeah, it's not really a country-specific thing. It just seems to be it's a gambling thing. CCP is worried about the public thinking they lost their mandate from heaven. Does the CCP really think that the population base is quite like that? Especially in this day and age. Hard Farnell, did you get that Mac to run on Snow Leopard? Yes, I did. Oh, sorry. Yes, everyone, this is Harold. He produces the little, really easy to use 15-inch MacBook GPU bypass little board that I used the other day. Anyway, it turns out I'm not sure whether it was I did a disk aid for that drive, and it seemed to come up good. But I think what it was is actually the memory. So I moved memory out of the bottom slot, and now it's good. It's been passing all the tests so far. Unlike this is just taking forever. Why don't I have my? It's happening. It's a little sluggish. That's why I wish I had MRI for the 2014 series. For some reason, oh, I know what's going on. Sorry. I'm too busy talking and arguing about political crap. Okay. Let's see, what do we got? The biohazard research facility in Wuhan accidentally leaked. I'd say probably not. Honestly, the wet markets in China and any of those places where they just, yeah, they're perfect. They're better breeding grounds for that sort of stuff than any research lab. Research lab's going to go for things like smallpox variants and whatnot. I mean, really, if you did want to devastate the world, that's all you do. You just drop smallpox out there again. Okay, so we've got my portable Mac. Oh, what keyboard is this? This isn't standard. Well, when I say standard, it's not US English. That's standard. AM. Carbon. Let's see, I was going to mention that money as well invested to take 101 course in Chinese in university, so you can get the basic pronunciation of the basic. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm using right now. I'm on the Duolingo site, and it does have all the bits and pieces there. For me, the most part, I'm primarily looking at being able to just simply read and write Chinese. And if it gets to the point where I need to start learning how to pronounce or listen to Mandarin, I guess, as opposed to Cantonese, I guess I'll sort of tackle that. For now, I do a pretty shoddy job of the pronunciations and listening to it. Listening to it is the hardest bit, particularly because I've got bad hearing to start with. But I'm getting there. It is the slowest point, though. And learning the pinyin and all the four-tone system, that's the other tricky one. It's been confirmed the outbreak was not at the Wuhan wet market. I guess I'm going to take all this stuff pretty much with a grain of salt. I mean, where do they declare it came from now? Okay, so this is good. And I guess I'm not big on the whole conspiracy theory thing in life. I think as far as I'm concerned, the universe throws enough spanners in our lives as it is without having to come up with conspiracy theories. I mean, there are certainly some conspiracies that go on, but overall I think the universe does a better job than humans. Hey, Ruggers Customs. Still looking for patient 0. Maybe patient 0 is back in the pig pen. Yeah, Colin, I imagine it would do actually if you've been in that for a year. I mean, obviously for me here, there's really not a lot of exposure to native Chinese speaking people. And then of course, which accent do you use? Do you use like Beijing accent, or do you use some other one? But I suppose, the fundamental four tones, I'll just, if I've got to speak Chinese or something like that, I guess I'll just appear as a very retarded person. Hey, Ruggers, oh, yeah. Okay, well, that's all working very nicely now. We've got a very nicely fixed up machine. So it turns out it was that bust up chip, and then even if we'd replaced that first chip, the big one, we wouldn't have got anything on screen, because we wouldn't have had a backlight, because we didn't have our I2C lines. So Shut down. Shut down. Which makes me wonder, what was that chip for anyway? The big one. So U3210. Oh, of course. Duh, idiot. Okay. It's the high voltage power mux, which is something that you do tend to replace every now and then when you get to the point where you can't find what's causing the fault on your machine, and 3210 is one of those ones that you just decide, well, we'll just pull it and see how we go. Okay, so that's a fixed machine. I can now pack that away, in spite of it being an Apple field replacement unit rather. Alright. Well, that's it, I'm done. I do have more machines, but they'll be for tomorrow or the day after. I'm not going to be not going to be doing anything more tonight. I've got to go up and do some other stuff, paperwork, taxman, that sort of thing. And it is almost 11 o'clock, so I've probably got to go help the kids, round them up, bring them inside, get my bowl of ice cream or whatever I'm going to decide to eat, sit down and waste an hour trying to pick something on Netflix. I got to admit, sadly, that I actually came across Grey's Anatomy, which kind of amused me because I've always been a big fan of Scrubs. I love Scrubs. And then I started just, because everyone has been talking about Grey's Anatomy for years, I thought, what is this? So I watched it. And it just feels like a more drama version of Scrubs with not so much laughter and, anyway. And we'll see how it goes. 2 or 3 episodes. If I get bored of it, I'll shift off. But I did manage to watch all of Upper Middle Bogan, and I found that quite amusing from a light, brainless, casual sort of way of things. Seems like they've only got the 3 seasons, but oh well. Calvin, your wife, is watching Greys as well on Netflix. Ah, okay. House, I've got to get around to watching. I haven't had a chance. I mean, a lot of people seem to rave about it. I don't know if it's going to be my thing. I guess I'll give it a couple of episodes and see how it goes. Depressing Scrubs. Yes, that's it. Grey's Anatomy is depressing Scrubs. I2C was invented here in Eindhoven. Oh man, how do I pronounce that, Phillips? Yeah. How do you say it? Do you say I2C or do you say I squared C? Yeah, Upper Middleburgen was a bit of a surprising change coming out of the ABC. I was expecting it to be a little bit more contrived and forced and things like that, like Three Stooges, whatever, but they played it down the middle quite nicely. So I probably wouldn't watch it again, but it did make for some light entertainment, so I was happy about that. Oh, and yep, and the bugs are coming. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow or some other day, but until then, you'll take care. I'll see you next time. Bugs.